Hi, it's Reggie. Welcome back to Moonlight and Moments. This time of year invites us to pause, to gather, to name what we're grateful for. And often we think of others, those who've loved us, helped us, carried us through. But how often do we think to thank ourselves? The truth is, you've made it through a lot this year. You've carried more than you've said out loud. You've made choices with love. You've kept going, even when no one was watching. So, in today's episode, we visit a quiet town with a mysterious mailbox, one that only sends thank you letters until the day it receives one, addressed simply to me. This is a story about turning our gratitude inward, about self recognition, about honoring the parts of us that have been so quietly brave. So take a breath and let's begin. There's a little town nestled between hills and water, where the seasons pass a little slower and the trees know your name. Most people walk everywhere there, not because they must, but because the roads seem to ask you to take your time. In the very center of that town, on a quiet corner near a bakery that always smells like cinnamon and bread, sits a red mailbox. It's not attached to any post office or labeled with any instructions. It's just there, simple, still, and waiting. The people in town call it the thank you mailbox. No one knows who built it or how it works. Only that when you place a letter inside, something soft begins to shift in the air. You never write a return address. You don't write a name. Just a thank you. And somehow, wherever that letter needs to go, it arrives. Over the years, the mailbox has carried thousands of thank yous. Thank you for holding the elevator. Thank you for being kind to me in high school. Thank you, Mom, for always folding my sweaters the way I liked. Thank you, stranger on the bus, who noticed I was crying and said nothing but sat with me anyway. The mailbox held all of them and released them into the world like tiny birds. Gratitude flying to places too far for footsteps or too fragile for words. And for as long as anyone could remember, the thank you mailbox only ever sent mail. Until one day, it received a letter. It was early morning. Fog hung low over the rooftops, and the town was still blinking itself awake. The baker across the street was kneading dough with sleepy hands, and someone, a figure in a thick coat and scarf, approached the mailbox with slow, hesitant steps. They weren't carrying much, just a small envelope. No gold trim, no stickers, just plain paper with handwriting that leaned slightly to the left. They placed it inside and whispered, "Please, let this one be sent." The mailbox paused. It had never paused before. Inside its hollow metal chest, where it usually felt letters fluttering like warm wings, there was only stillness. Then, slowly, the flap clicked shut. Later, when a town librarian passed by and noticed something inside, she gently pulled the letter out. It was addressed simply to me. The librarian held it for a long time, then brought it home, lit a candle, and read it out loud, as if it had been meant for every version of herself. To me, thank you for not giving up, even when no one saw how hard it was. Thank you for the nights you stayed awake so others could sleep soundly. Thank you for not being louder than you needed to be, for making room for other people's dreams, even when it meant shrinking your own. Thank you for laughing, even when your heart was tired. Thank you for all the meals you made, even when no one said thank you back. Thank you for your quietness, your worry, your soft hands that kept showing up. Thank you for carrying the weight. And thank you, too, for the joy. For the way you noticed the sound of the wind in trees. For the way you let your body dance when no one was watching. For the way you paused to enjoy the first sip of tea. for staying, for becoming, for trying again. Thank you. Love, me. No one ever claimed the letter, but the librarian placed it in the town window anyway, and people came to read it. And one by one, they started to write their own letters, not to strangers or friends this time, but to themselves. And the thank you mailbox, for the first time in its long, quiet life, became a mirror, not just a vessel of gratitude, but a reminder that we, too, are worthy of the words we give so easily to others. There's a softness in saying thank you that the world often forgets to give us. We are taught to say it to others, to recognize their kindness, their generosity, their effort. But so rarely are we taught to look at our own reflection and whisper, "Thank you for all you've done." This episode is not about grand celebrations or loud victories. It's about the quiet, often invisible acts of endurance and care we give ourselves and others, with little or no acknowledgement. It's about what it costs to keep going when no one is clapping. About the nights you held yourself together so someone else could fall apart. The mornings you rose even when the world didn't feel like it held space for you. The silent battles, the suppressed grief, the swallowed words, and still you stayed. Still you moved forward. To thank yourself isn't ego, it's healing. It's a shift in voice from blame to blessing, from scrutiny to softness. Because if we're honest, most of us carry more blame than gratitude for ourselves. We hold ourselves responsible for what we couldn't control. We criticize the things we didn't get right. We compare, we rush, we forget. But what if, just for a moment, we turned our gaze inward and said, "Thank you for surviving that chapter. Thank you for being brave enough to care. Thank you for the parts of me that chose softness over silence." Gratitude doesn't cancel out our pain. It doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means holding two truths at once. That things have been heavy, and yet we have still managed to create light. That our lives hold sorrow, and still they hold laughter too. And especially during this time of year, when gratitude often turns outward, toward people, events, or memories, let this be a quiet invitation to turn it inward as well. Thank yourself for the way you've shown up. Thank yourself for all the unseen labor of loving others and trying to love yourself. Thank yourself for what you've carried, and thank yourself too for what you've laid down. You have always deserved your own kindness. Maybe this is the year you finally believe that. Let's keep going together, with gentleness in our steps and grace in our gaze, especially the one we turn toward ourselves. You may not have a red mailbox in your neighborhood, but you probably lived many days like it, quietly offering care, holding space for others, giving your energy away in small unseen ways. We don't always get thank you cards for those moments. There's no ceremony when you show up to work, even though your heart is heavy. No applause for making dinner when you're too tired to chew. No standing ovation for calming someone else's storm while weathering your own. But still, you keep showing up. You keep trying. You keep caring. Many of us carry the belief that we have to be exceptional to be worthy of recognition. That unless we do something extraordinary, our effort doesn't count. But the truth is, your ordinary everyday resilience is extraordinary. Saying thank you to yourself might feel awkward at first. It might even feel silly. But it's a soft rebellion against the world that too often teaches us to ignore our own needs. It's an invitation to see yourself not just someone who survives, but someone who gives, nourishes, hopes, and holds. Maybe you've spent this year caring for a loved one, navigating uncertainty, quietly healing, or carrying invisible grief. Maybe you've kept people laughing even when your own smile was a little cracked. Maybe you've made sacrifices you didn't name, because naming them would feel like asking too much. But today, let's name them. Let's honor them. Let's thank the parts of you that have been carrying more than their share. Thank the you who stayed kind, the you who kept forgiving, the you who chose softness over cynicism, the you who reached out even when you were the one who needed holding. In a season full of toasts and thanks and reflections, don't leave yourself out. You are a part of this moment. You are a part of the grace that's being named. Let's begin practicing the kind of gratitude that starts at home, the kind that begins in your own chest, in your own voice, in your own hands. Thank you deeply for being here. The world is better for it. Here are a few small ways to begin saying thank you to yourself, not as a task or a trend, but as an act of quiet recognition. 1. Write yourself a thank you letter. You don't have to mail it, and no one else has to read it. Just take 10 minutes to put pen to paper and write from the heart. Thank yourself for something recent, something old, something no one else noticed. Let it be real. 2. Name one invisible effort you made today. Maybe you kept a boundary. Maybe you smiled at someone when you didn't feel like it. Maybe you simply got out of bed. Pause, name it, and offer yourself a moment of genuine acknowledgement. 3. Shift the voice in your head. When you catch yourself criticizing or rushing or spiraling, try this. Interrupt the thought with a gentle thank you. Thank you for trying. Thank you for caring so much. Thank you for learning. It doesn't erase the discomfort, but it changes the tone. 4. Create a thank you ritual. At the end of the day, light a candle or take a breath and say one thing you're proud of yourself for. It might be big, it might be tiny. The size doesn't matter. What matters is that you see it. 5. Speak to your past self. Look at a photo of a younger you, 5 years ago, 10, or even last month. Say thank you. Thank them for getting you here, for making choices, for staying alive, for becoming. This connection bridges your past and present with compassion. Remember, you are not behind in your healing. You are not wrong for needing rest. You are not selfish for wanting softness. You are human, and you have been so brave in your becoming. Thank yourself often. Thank yourself honestly. And thank yourself gently. You are the one who's been with you through it all, and you are doing better than you think. Find the quiet space if you can. Let your shoulders soften and clench your jaw. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Slow and steady, like waves reaching the shore. Close your eyes or lower your gaze and imagine a mailbox. Not on some distant street, but one that lives right in the middle of your heart. It's weathered a little, like you. It's held more than its chair, like you. And it still stands, like you. Now imagine opening it, and inside is a letter. Just one. The envelope is simple, and written on the front are 2 words. Thank you. Gently you open it. The letter isn't long. It doesn't list your accomplishments or measure your worth. It simply says, thank you for staying. Thank you for becoming. Thank you for being. Let those words settle. Breathe them in. Let them land in every part of you that thought it needed to earn love. Let them reach the younger you who needed to hear it. Let them echo in your chest like a warm bell. And as you return to your day, carry the simple truth. Gratitude lives inside you, and it's allowed to include you. You don't have to do more to be worthy of your own tenderness. You don't have to wait for someone else to see your light before you let it shine. You're here, and that is enough. You've just listened to a love letter to your own endurance, your softness, your survival. And maybe, in listening, something stirred. Maybe a part of you, one that's been waiting quietly in the background, finally felt seen. That part of you that's tired but still trying. That part of you that gives so much and rarely gets thanked for. That part of you that's always been enough, even when the world made you believe you had earned it. If today's story brought up emotion, let it. If it brought up persistence, that's okay too. Sometimes we don't realize how much we needed to hear something until we finally do. You don't have to wait for permission to speak kindly to yourself. You don't need a perfect day, a perfect body, a perfect life to be worthy of your own tenderness. And you're allowed to be proud of yourself for the quiet things, the small wins, the choices no one else applauded you, but you made anyway. So as you move through the rest of the week, maybe gathering with others, or maybe resting alone, bring yourself with you. Bring your heart, bring your tenderness, bring your softness, and bring your gratitude not just outward, but inward too. Thank yourself for being here, for becoming, for surviving things that no one else knew about. And if it feels hard to believe those words just yet, I'll believe them for you until you can. Thank you for being here with me tonight. Follow Moonlight in Moments wherever you listen, and share it with someone who might need a little light today. Until next time, and as always, love yourself better than yesterday.
I held the weight no one could see, kept going when it all broke beneath me. Stayed quiet just to keep the peace, but I was still there, I didn't leave. No one clapped, no one knew, but I kept walking, I came through. Yeah, thank you me for staying kind, for showing up 1,000 times, for every tear I didn't show, for all the ways I let me grow. Thank you me for holding on when all the light had almost gone. I didn't wait for someone else, I learned to thank my quiet self. I gave when I had none to spare. I loved through silence, hurt and care. I built a life out of small things, soft mornings, breath that remembering. No awards, no marquee, but I kept loving, I chose me. Yeah, thank you me for staying kind, for showing up 1,000 times, for every tear I didn't show, for all the ways I let me grow. Thank you me for holding on when all the light had almost gone. I didn't wait for someone else, I learned to thank my quiet self. I don't need perfect to be proud, I don't need noise to speak aloud. A whisper still a worthy song, and I've been worthy all along. Thank you me for every try, for dreaming still, for asking why, for every step no one could see. You've always been enough for me. Thank you me for making space, for choosing love, for choosing grace. This quiet voice I've come to be deserves a thank you me.